Hi everyone. Today we're going to take a fall stroll through my garden. I want to show you what my garden looks like in the fall here in Texas, and the plants that I had planned on planting and blooming around this time of the year, as I have all sorts of ideas on what my garden should be like and what my flowers should be in such seasons. I chose plants that were different and new to me. In this video, you will also know and understand the reason why I love moonflowers and why I planted in my garden.
I just wanted to do a fun little walk in the garden and show you what I have here in my fall garden in Houston, Texas. I guess I should start with the entryway because this is where I got Yard of the Month last month. I'm going to say that the reason I got it was because of the simplicity of my color choices. As I really have more an aesthetic of just screens on my front yard. There's a very large tree. Nothing really grows here. It's very difficult, especially after such a dry summer. So I have things like lantana. It should bloom beautifully, but it doesn't. That's, I just have puny flowers, so there's not a whole lot of color. But I have chosen to pick this color mostly when I have flowers because a little bit of pink and yellow goes well with both my front door and the ceiling and my patio. I have these huge Adam rips, I think they're called, and I put a few little pansies here that I grew from seed. I think they're called sizzle fizzle. These are gorgeous in the spring. However, this winter, both of these jasmine that kind of go up into this tower died. That's why the tower's looking so bad. But I have both of them flanking here, and these have not been blooming lately, probably because we're not getting enough sun or water. I do have these beautiful azaleas, and they do flush with this pink blue twice a year. So I'm hoping that in the spring we'll have a flush. Unfortunately, because of the drought, it's just not blooming this fall, unfortunately. So I try to replicate the plants here. I have the Adam's ribs. They're not as large on the ground. It's just very sandy bed soil, I think. And more of these, which is a trick where when you want your garden to have a stylish but very cohesive look, you need to use repetition in the garden. This is the entrance to the new extension to the backyard. And here it is. Don't mind the mess. I haven't really picked anything up. These plants all died in the winter, last winter, but they came back eventually. I need to trim that. I think it's called red tips or something. I don't know the name of that plant. I just planted some columbines here. We'll see. They're very difficult to germinate, so we'll see what happens. I have one potted crepe myrtle that blooms white, and right in that corner is a log, and I have inoculated that log with these tiny little rods with mushroom spore in them. It is pearl mushroom, and it's my favorite flavored mushroom. It shouldn't produce until next year. I need to keep it nice and shaded and warm. These are my moonflower vines. And I just want to give you this. They only bloom. Ugh, I wish the light was better. Let's try that. Okay, here we go. They only bloom when it's cool and dark. So early morning, like it is now, or in the evening. And they're perfect for a moon garden that can be seen at night. And I just love having them around, they bloom around Halloween because they look like little ghosts from the outside. These big, white, fluffy rosettes. So this is the brand new area. It will take a while for it to take over, but I'm kind of glad that the Moonflower did this in just a couple of months.
The Haunting of Bly Manor is one of my favorite Halloween Netflix series, and you can probably watch it right now. The Haunting of series, like I think before Bly Manor, it is one of those house haunting shows that are not gruesome. They're just thoughtful. So I always enjoy that kind of mystery in the dark Gothic halls of such houses. Love that. The moon flower that I have in my garden is part of a monologue during the movie, and it has a beautiful little message that I wanted to share with you. So I make sure that I always plant moonflowers for fall blooming because they both look like ghosts and remind me of the series and the message that it brings.
I started all of these foxgloves, which are poisonous. So if you have pets or children that like to get into plants, do not have them. So I'll have them growing here and some in this area too that looks messy, but I have goals for it and things are planned. Currently, I just have this black magic. Again, I love the idea of a moon garden, and I think a black magic alopecia sounds fantastic. You can see how dark it is, but I have seen them darker. It should be much bigger than it is now. And I actually had it close this pathway right here originally. And again, it's so tiny. It used to be about 8 feet tall, but it might not be happy here. This I've planted just this year. It has produced leaves profusely. However, the sun burned it, even though it is behind this structure where I'm trying to get a wisteria vine, but it's the American wisteria and it's not as invasive. Eventually, this will be lovely and bloom and cover this entire structure and give this area a little bit more shade. These are sweet potatoes growing here, so I'm excited about that. Hopefully they will be ready by Thanksgiving. This little fellow here, and what that is, I think it's called a butterfly vine. It is the only plant here in Texas that feed the monarch butterflies, and they come by through Houston to go to Mexico in this winter, and then they head back north, and they have to come over here and eat up all those plants. So I'm kind of excited. That is a volunteer. It just showed up, and I'm happy about it. In this bed, I have 2 types of kale. This one right here would be the dinosaur kale, and then this one is a Russian red stem or purple stem kale. My son likes to have these roasted in the oven. And over here is Entryway. I love having that. Always available to throw in some dish that I'm creating. Right here is celery. I just bought some celery a couple weeks ago and used it and then planted the base of it. I will also have parsley growing here soon. This is my hydrangea. It's a lovely hydrangea. It had many blooms, but every year of my life I've tried to make hydrangea grow in Houston and I've been very unlucky. However, this year it has made it the entire year. I do have some sort of a shade cloth that I lay over it every day in the afternoon. It's a full-time job. My asparagus bed is full of tendrils. These are gonna feed the asparagus for next season. I do have some in there that produce in the fall, but you can see the lighter green fronds are from recently emerged asparagus that I didn't cut, so it's okay. It's feeding the root system for next year. Have a few flowers in there. These are, if I have the package, I'll put the type of zinnia. I purposefully used these mauve and maroon colors for my zinnias this year because I wanted to have flowers for my fall arrangements. Then right here we have some green onions, also grown from the ends of the green onions I purchased at the store. The basil did beautifully this year, and I'm keeping them here for seed. Look at that. And also, I love to use these. They have a lemony green color that I think are lovely in flower arrangements just to brighten them up. This is what I call my herb bed, but it doesn't have many herbs growing yet. It depends on what's happening in the year, but I got some rosemary and such. I do have a jalapeno pepper in the back, some garlic coming up, coriander coming up as well. This is also a place where I decided to put some more of the sweet potatoes. We'll see how they fare here. I want to have enough sweet potatoes for a meal. Now, this squash right here, it's one of those little white pumpkins, and I grew it, and just as scheduled, this week they were supposed to put out fruit. There it is. I missed the Halloween date. I don't think that's going to be big enough to be showcased at Halloween. This is a bed of peppers, you guys. There are all sorts of peppers in there. I have bags of it in the refrigerator inside. Banana peppers, sweet peppers, all sorts of fun things. And here in Texas, if we don't have real bad freezes, I might be able to keep them until next year. Fingers crossed. I also have back here some Swiss chard. How beautiful is that? That's gorgeous. I have another one here that's not getting as much sun, but there it is. And look, I just want to show you. This is a banana pepper and other peppers growing in there. There are so many of them. That's ruella. Very invasive. I have it all over the yard, but I kind of like it. I keep track of it and I trim it several times during the year. But I like, again, it's a way to repeat a plant, and it does well no matter if it's dry or wet. So I just keep that lily growing. I have roses, I have blackberries, which produced already, but that should be a fruit soon, I hope. Or it might get too cold too soon for these little tender shoots to produce anything. But here is a rose suffering from some sort of mold. And it should be going dormant anyway, but it has so many little buds in it. I'm excited about it. This here is a acerola tree, or Barbados cherry. Hasn't produced yet. I think it's in its second year, and I haven't seen any fruit, but I'm hoping that next year I will have some. This right here, I love this plant. It is a bougainvillea, but a white bougainvillea. And these branches are so lovely. One year I made a crown for a costume. Thorny crown of bougainvillea, very haunting. And I do add a piece or two to a bouquet if I want to liven it up a little. From my vegetable garden, I'm trying to grow red cabbage, but I'm having a hard time. We have a silly armadillo that comes in here and destroys everything. Now, these two beds are my cut flower beds, and they were brimming. So I chopped off most of the flowers from this bed because it was driving me crazy. I might be able to find footage of the flowers before here, but it was absolutely blocking the view to my vegetable garden, and I just decided, oh, it's time to chop that off. It's driving me crazy. I left this bed intact where I have zinnias. Again, I think this is the same type of zinnia that I've shown you from the asparagus bed. And these right here are gorgeous. I am absolutely enjoying them, making bouquets with them. But what I plan on doing is letting them go to seed and saving the seeds for these varieties. They are the Queenie variety. That means they have the yellow lime color with them. This one is a red version and a warm version, whereas this one is a cooler version with more pink tones. These all go beautifully with the most amazing plant I've grown in my life. These plants were 9 to 10 feet tall. The only reason they are at a reasonable height of about 5 to 6 feet is because they're laying heavily on their trunks. They're about the size of a tree trunk. Look at that. But this specific color is perfect for Halloween, and that's why I planted it. You might have remember seeing it from this video that I posted a couple weeks ago. This area right here is where I have these two little terracotta pots, and I think I have celosia growing in there. I always try to tuck something in. This is my wall of fruit trees. I haven't been lucky with them. Trees that have produced died, and other trees have not produced at all. I think I'm going to take them all down and put Bartlett pears. In my last house, I planted a tree in 1 year, and the next year had over 40 fruit. That area over there's just the yard, and please ignore my quilt like structure of my grass because only weeds grew this year. It was just horrible with the summer with absolutely no rain. Another row of crepe myrtles back in here. And you can see the ruella, the blue little flowers growing everywhere to make barriers. And I use the color. It's purple blue, but when you look at it in real life, it looks more blue than purple. It's just that the camera makes them look purple for some reason. So I pulled that color and I added a garden seat. Now this is the first bush to bloom. It's usually January. It's called Carolina jessamine, and there are so many blooms in this in the spring, actually late winter. So overall, it wasn't a great year for my garden, but I had fun. I had lots of fun with my beautiful cut flowers. I enjoyed them tremendously, and I hope you enjoyed the tour. There are the vases and pots and little things here and there, not really worth mentioning. They're all at their last days, but it's nice enough, and they bring me joy. Have a good one.